Talking about labor cost in a warehouse, we also should look at the aisle configuration, the alignment of our aisles in the warehouse. Though we can think of two basic orientations of our aisles, one that runs parallel in the direction of the material flow. This is exactly what is happening here, though the aisles are parallel to the material flow. And of course, this is a very, basically a very good layout decision. If you would put the shipping and receiving locations on the left and on the right side in this picture, on the left, the receiving and the shipping on the right side, but you would not change the orientation of the aisles in our storage racks. Then you would have an orthogonal orientation of the aisles. And this would disrupt the flow of the product a lot in the warehouse. So this orthogonal orientation where the receiving is on the left and the shipping is on the right, with the aisles unchanged, would just disturb the flow of products a lot. Though a parallel orientation is already a good start. However, we can try to improve the ability to navigate inside a warehouse by adding a cross aisle. Though here you see the cross aisle roughly in the center of the warehouse that is orthogonal to the storage locations. The disadvantage is, of course, we lose a little bit of storage space by adding this additional aisle. But we can move quicker between the aisles, and this is in particular good if we have some more complicated operations to perform on our pallets. For example, if we apply dual cycling, where we combine a put away operation with a shipping or a picking operation of a pallet. Though having this aisle requires slightly more space in our warehouse to store the same number of products, and there might be some additional travel when the doors are on the receiving and the shipping doors are on opposite sides, because we always have to cross this additional space of the cross aisle. But this seems to be a minor disadvantage. And if your shipping and receiving doors are on the same side of the warehouse, then for the lower part of the storage locations, they remain unchanged, but all the upper parts and the upper level, the travel distance is slightly increased because you have to cross the cross aisle. Another layout that can improve the labor cost in a warehouse, which is however much less common, is called the angled aisle or fishbone layout. You see that we have now some of the storage locations, they have been rotated by 90 degrees, and we have a couple of cross aisles in this 45-degree angle that runs through the warehouse. And this gives us, to many locations, a more direct direction of travel, which reduces the travel cost. In particular, when the shipping and receiving is centrally located on one side of the warehouse, which is here the black spot on the bottom. Now this can save travel times of up to 20%. Of course, you need more space because you have additional aisles. And if you have dual cycle operation, it might be less fitting. Here are some additional questions that you can have a look at and try to solve them in self-study to get an idea what could be asked in the quiz. So now let's sum up the layout issues in a unit load warehouse. We always have to ask ourselves is a pallet position convenient? How to decide this? Look at the location of shipping and receiving doors and on the layout orientation of the aisles. And a pallet position might be convenient or not, but then it's also important how often we have to visit this location during one period. And we should arrange the layout of a warehouse in a way that the convenience storage locations match the velocity of the products. So the popular products, the products we need very often, the storage locations that we need to visit very often should be very convenient. And from the previous lecture, you already know that deep lane storage reduces the aisle space, but loses use of pallet positions due to honeycombing. So when we store our pallets in very deep lanes, like 3 or 4 deep lanes, we need less aisle space, but we also have to deal with this honeycombing effect that you analyzed in the last session, and this may contradict the advantages of deep lane storage.